All the pressure is on the head coach, the coaching staff, and the general manager. Because Lamar Jackson showed up. Welcome to the In My Defense podcast, where we chop it up about sports, culture, and life the way it was meant to be discussed. Bold takes, thoughtful analysis, and real talk. And in here, nothing's personal, but in my defense. And if you're watching on YouTube, please hit that little button and like and subscribe. Got to bring in my brother from another mother, Mr. Quentin Wright McDuffie. Yo, Q, what up?
What's good, Brody? What's good? How you doing, man?
I'm good, man. Fresh off of Easter. I had little man in his Easter outfit. We took the pictures. We was at the church. They had the bell choir going, and little man was on his best behavior for the 90 minutes that we was in church. So I can't ask for nothing more, but I did get something more. Easter Sunday, came home. My wife made rack of lamb for the Lamb of God, and it was outstanding, my brother. Had some lamb, had a little red wine. It was the perfect Easter. We gave my son his Easter basket. We dyed the eggs. It was all good, man. Great Easter. How about yours?
It was good. I mean, this was a rough Easter because now every Easter is going to be rough because it's around the anniversary of my mom passing away. But it's good to be with family. And like you said, it's about the kids, being able to take them to church. And Brooke is a church kid. She knows the reason for the season. That he has risen. So she's a Resurrection Sunday kind of kid. I'll tell you that.
It ain't Easter, it's Resurrection Sunday.
It's Resurrection Sunday kind of kid. But no, being able to do for her and making sure we see smiles on faces. I didn't get too suited and booted.
Okay.
Usually, we go get some suits, get things done. But it was about the kids this year, making sure they were all good. I can't complain. Got a chance to hang out with the family, relax. My little brother came up from Atlanta.
Okay.
So nothing too crazy, but I need that plate from Mel. I'm tired of hearing these good dishes. I'm tired of hearing them, and I don't get a plate, man.
Hey, I married the best cook I know, bro. All you got to do is pull up with your appetite. I'll make you pay the toll with a bottle of wine. You know how I do. But hey, come with an appetite. You're gonna leave happy. Now, you might have to waddle out of the crib because you're going to be full, but it's going to be well worth your time, brother. Believe that.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. How about this? I got to pay admission with this hat and this sweatshirt that I got for you.
There you go.
This guy,
the In My Defense hat and sweatshirt. I don't know how we have merch that's out there. Other people are rocking it, and I don't have an In My Defense hat or hoodie. I don't get it. I don't understand it.
Plus, I don't know who the other people, but if they are, we got to sue them for copyright infringement. Because we got the mark. We got to sue them for copyright infringement. Yeah. We got to figure out where that's happening. But no, I got you, Canty. I got you. But I definitely got to take care of you. There's a lot of people being taken care of around the world of sports. And one thing that's being taken care of is business in the world of the WNBA. We got one of the most biggest superstars that have hit their league in the last several years, Angel Reese. She has been traded from the Chicago Skies over to the Atlanta Dream. Canty, we know that this is a big trade. What are your thoughts on this trade so far?
Well, I like the trade. This is Chicago being forward thinking. They want to make sure that they position themselves to go on a championship run. And quite frankly, where they were at last year, it wasn't going to be good enough, 10-34. And if you're going to be bad with Angel Reese, you can be bad without her. You trade Angel Reese, you get the 2 first-rounders from Atlanta in 27 and 28. I think it makes a ton of sense for both sides based on their timelines for their respective organizations.
It does, but Canty,
what's up?
I don't know how much of a business decision it was. I mean, for the Chicago Sky, they lost 10,000 followers post the trade.
10,000 followers.
Atlanta Dream got 18K. And if we talking chicken, Angel Reese trade, they doubled their ticket sales for the Atlanta Dreams. Most expensive ticket went from being $34 to $68 to being $1,000.
Okay.
So ticket sales doubling, money doubling. I mean, the Angel Reese move like a business move more than anything else.
No, I mean, listen, you say it's a business move. I understand what you're talking about, and Angel Reese is a marquee for the Chicago Sky. Now she's going to be that for the Atlanta Dream. But you got to also consider this. Angel Reese is coming up due for a contract extension, right? She's getting a huge bump in pay this year, $350,000. Things are going to change in terms of the expense, the cost of Angel Reese. So I think that's something that has to be factored in. If you're the Chicago Sky, do you want to hold on to Angel Reese and pay that high salary, even though your team is not positioned to win? Or are you going to play the long game, develop the other young talent that you have on the squad, and use those draft picks in order to get cheap, controllable talent that is capable of outperforming their contract. I think that's ultimately what it comes down to. It's a production-based business, and the production individually and the production from team success have to match. And in this instance, what Angel Reese was going to cost the Chicago Sky, it just wasn't going to make sense. I think she can be much more impactful for the Atlanta Dream in terms of putting them closer to a championship. And then, oh, by the way, Angel Reese being in Atlanta, culturally, it seems to make a lot of sense in terms of the off-the-court opportunities that she can parlay. So I think it's good for everybody involved. It's good for the Sky. I think it's a home run for the Atlanta Dream, although I think the Atlanta Dream are incurring more risk here because of what they're giving up. And then, of course, I think it's a home run win for Angel Reese.
Right now, I think is one of those moments. It's a win right now kind of situation. Atlanta Dream wasn't too far off last year in the playoffs. This is a good fit. The Dream aims to build around their 30-14 record. Angel Reese is a perfect fit. Look at the talent they have. They got Brittany Griner. Now, if them two start, you got Twin Towers.
Yeah.
You got Alicia Gray.
Yeah.
You got Ryan Howard.
Yep.
You have talent on the Dream that now having Angel Reese and her averaging 14 points, 13 rebounds across her 2 seasons. Put that on that team with A. Gray. I call her A. Gray, Killer Gray.
Mm-hmm.
She is a fabulous guard, and she got the goggles. Ain't nothing like a killer with goggles on.
Yeah.
I think they're going to make some noise in the W this year. So was it really a bad decision to give up the 27th and 28th pick?
I hear you, but they got a clear timeline now. They got to get it done in the next 2 or 3 years. Otherwise, the trade wasn't worth it. So are they going to be able to contend with the upper echelon teams? Are they going to be able to contend with squads like the Aces? We'll have to see. But that's what they're up against. And so I think they've made a clear decision as an organization that we're going to mortgage the future for the here and now. If the here and now does not result in the championship, then the move is a failure.
Well, I think a lot of people's piggy banks are going to go up in regards to this move. I'll talk a little bit about that in my wins and losses because there's a lot more dollars that happen with this move in the WNBA. But I want us to pivot to the NBA. We know that the end of the season is upon us.
Yeah.
The end of the season is upon us. The last game is Sunday, April 12th. Right now, we have a dilemma in the NBA where we have people not being able to be eligible for awards. So as of April 8th, 2028, and I want to make sure you guys know the date because we are recording on a Wednesday, there are over a dozen stars that will not be qualified for awards, including Luka, Anthony Edwards, Kate Cunningham, who everybody thought might have snuck and won an MVP this year. You got Steph Curry, you got Giannis Antetokounmpo, LeBron, Devin Booker, and you got a couple players on the bubble. I don't foresee Wemby not playing in the next couple games, but if he misses one more game, he's out. Joker, if he misses 2 more games, I don't foresee that. The 12th is coming up.
Yeah.
He's out. But my question to you, Canty, is how many big names in the future will suffer because of the 65-game rule?
Well, listen, the NBA put this rule in place because players weren't playing. They were doing the load management crap. And I'll never understand the argument for load management because if load management works for your stars, then why doesn't load management work for the 7th or 8th guy in your rotation? It just doesn't make sense, right? You're not load managing them. You're just load managing your stars. So if it's not good for the goose, it can't be good for the gander. It doesn't make sense to me, the load management argument. That's neither here nor there. The NBA put this measure in place because they wanted to get rid of the load management. The TV partners were sick of star players not playing in primetime games. So the NBA and the NBPA agreed to a measure where if you don't play in 65 games, you're not eligible for the postseason awards. And that is directly tied to players' compensation, contracts, so on and so forth. So if you want to, unlock, bigger salaries in your contract, then you have to hit these markers, whether it's all NBA, whether it's all defensive team, whether it's 6 man of the year, you know what I'm saying? All of these different awards. So I hate that so many guys got caught up in it, but I think that the rule is in place for a reason. And if you're going to be in consideration for some of the top accolades and recognition as one of the best in the game, then you got to be out there. Herm Edwards said it a long time ago, the best ability is availability. So I'm with it. I don't have a problem with the 65 games. Now, the nuance behind that, people take issue with the amount of minutes played. So the argument is LeBron James versus Victor Wembanyama. Victor Wembanyama has technically played in 63 games. LeBron James has played in 57 games, but LeBron James has played more minutes than Victor Wembanyama. So there's an argument there that people are trying to make, saying, well, LeBron has more of a claim for postseason awards than Wemby. I think that's stupid. Listen, if you lace them up, if you're out there, then all of a sudden you are a factor in that night's game, and the opposing team has to game plan for you. If the team has to game plan for you, you are impacting winning for your team. And that merits consideration for postseason awards. If I don't have to worry about the star player on the other team for another 5 nights, another 5 games, then that makes a huge advantage for your opponents. And that puts your team at a disadvantage. So I think the minutes argument is the dumbest argument against Victor Wembanyama winning MVP or Victor Wembanyama being eligible for awards and not LeBron James. It's the dumbest thing ever. But the 65 game minimum, I'm here for it. I think it needs to stay in place. I think players will be smarter about how they manage their body. You could see players playing less minutes. You could see coaches during the regular season leaning more on their depth, going deeper into their bench. And I don't have an issue with that either, because the season is a marathon. It's not a sprint. It's like that in all professional sports. But I do want to see the star players out there. When somebody pays the price for admission, when somebody's looking to select the games that they want to go to throughout the course of the season, and they're expecting Victor Wembanyama, they're expecting LeBron James, they're expecting Luka. When they see those names and those teams showing up to town and they want to buy those tickets, I expect those guys to be on the court.
Yeah, and I totally agree. I know that the rules started around the 2023 season. Um, my frustration, honestly, is around people suffering the sins of the father. There's a bunch of young dudes that's going to come into the league that won't be able to maximize their money because they haven't won an award. There's going to be young players that won't be able to maximize their notoriety because they wouldn't win an award. There's going to be young players that played 19 minutes a game and didn't understand you have to play a minimum 20 minutes a game, an exception for 2 to still qualify. So going back to the minutes thing with Wimby, I feel bad for the younger generation that hasn't done the load management, that hasn't done the things that frustrated ownership, that hasn't sat at the table in that CBA and say, I agree to this, because a lot of these guys are going to lose out on opportunity, bags, and the ability to make the most of their NBA careers. That's how I look at
these
this.
young guys will become older guys, and they'll have an opportunity to negotiate a collective bargaining agreement. And when they do, they can get their issue there. But I don't have a problem with it. I understand you have an issue with it because a lot of these young guys weren't a part of that load management crap that was pervasive in the 2010s. The thing that I will say, though, when it comes to player compensation being tied to postseason accolades, that was negotiated by the Players Association in conjunction with the league office. If you didn't like the fact that it could be linked to that, why'd you agree to it? Why did you agree to it? That's on you. That ain't on nobody else. And we said this when it comes to the WNBA CBA, and I'll say it for the NBA players that are trying to negotiate contracts, and they look at the 65 game minimum as a sticking point. You don't get what you deserve, you get what you negotiate. That's just what it is. So based on the current rules now, a lot of guys are going to get lost in the sauce. A lot of guys are going to miss out on opportunities. But that's where we're at in today's game.
No, I agree. I agree. I understand wholeheartedly. I was a little heartbroken when the media could determine how much money you make. Remember, like you said earlier, you had to win certain awards to qualify for certain max contracts. I felt that sucked. Now this is a whole nother
There's
hurdle.
another layer to it. There's another layer to it.
It's a whole nother animal. But
it makes it truly a symbiotic relationship between the players, the media, and the fans. It really does. Like everybody is working hand in glove in order to make a living.
Yeah. Yeah, and there's a lot of people out here trying to make a living as well. If we segue to NFL, we know there's a dude right now either negotiating or trying to make the most of his worth. We have New York Giant All Pro defensive tackle Dexter Lawrence. He recently requested a trade and is
Mm-hmm.
skipping all voluntary workouts.
Mm-hmm.
Right now, we know that he negotiated for the last 2 years.
Yeah.
He's seeking a new deal at the
Yeah.
elite level. He is 28 at this point.
Yeah.
Canty, is this for negotiation or is Sexy Dexy about to take his dance on the road?
I think Sexy Dexy might be moving around, man, because I don't think the Giants are going to get to where the defensive tackle market is going, right? You think about Jordan Davis, $26 million in new money average. Milton Williams, former Philadelphia Eagle, got a bag of money from the Patriots last offseason, $26 million. Zach Allen from the Denver Broncos, $25.5 million. Nnamdi Madubuike, he's said to be working on a contract extension with the Ravens. He's at $24.5 million. So when you start looking at where that defensive tackle market is going, I don't know if the Giants really want to take it there with Dexter Lawrence. And I'm not saying that Dexter Lawrence isn't worth the money. But when you look at where the New York Giants are at, I think that this is a team, this is an organization that philosophically is going to shift from building around their defense to building around their young quarterback in Jackson Dart. They got players on the defense that can be impact guys. I mean, they got Abdul Carter, they got Brian Burns, they've got Kayvon Thibodeau for now. They added some guys in free agency. I love the moves that they made this offseason in terms of fortifying the back end of that defense, bringing over Greg Newsome. I mean, you got Javon Holland back there. You got Paulson Adebo. I think they could stand to add. They also added Tremaine Edmonds in the middle linebacker spot. So they're figuring out what they're doing on the back seven. But as they improve those areas of their team, I think that you got to find a way to make little adjustments, in order to keep everybody fitted under the salary cap. And I think Dexter Lawrence will be one of those adjustments.
Um, well, Canty, I mean, it's not like we know the name, we know the dance, we know who he is. But last year he only had one sack. One
Yeah.
sack. 2024, he had his best season, which was 9.
Mm-hmm.
2023, he only had almost 5. 2022, he almost has 8. He's getting over the hump. He's turning, I believe, 28 this year.
Yeah.
And he still has 2 years left on that contract.
Yeah. And it's
It,
$40 million in cash. So my question to you would be this: It is it worth it for the Giants to pay him based on the player he is now, not what he was? Is it
Mhm,
worth it for the Giants to pay him $40 million in cash over the next 2 years? Or even more than that because he wants an extension?
mhm,
Or do the Giants cut their losses, move on, and get a premium draft pick? Because talking with Adam Schefter this week, he let it be known that there will be no shortage of people that are interested in Dexter Lawrence. So if you have an opportunity to get a premium draft pick, maybe not a first round pick, but if you can get a second round pick for Dexter Lawrence and you're the New York Giants, don't you think you ought to do that?
why not?
Don't you think you
Why
ought to
not?
do that? It seems like it makes sense. Now, again, I love Dexter Lawrence. I think he's a phenomenal player. I mean, the way that he plays the run and the pass, he can break down the pocket. We're seeing now in today's NFL that there's a premium for interior pressure, right?
Yep.
So I'm not trying to disparage Dexter Lawrence in any way, but I'm just talking about in terms of roster management. It makes sense. Ahead of the curve, seeing ahead of the curve, it makes sense for the Giants to be forward thinking in terms of how they're utilizing their resources, their draft picks, their cap space. You can add more around your young quarterback by moving on from Dexter Lawrence. And you can find ways to fill the gaps on the defensive end. Because here's the thing: if Abdul Carter takes the leap that you're expecting him to from year one to year two, then you'll have enough pressure players up front. You will.
Yeah.
So it's all about being able to manage that. And I think the Giants have plenty in the way of front seven playmakers in order to absorb the loss of Dexter Lawrence if they're forced to move on from him. So I don't know, man. Just the way that I see it, I think there's a tremendous amount of value in it in terms of trading him versus paying him a market setting deal of 26, 27, $28 million a year.
All right. Well, put on your GM hat. I know you're not Joe Shane because you don't make mistakes. But KT, where would you think he'll go if
Where
you trade him?
Dexter Lawrence?
Yeah, what's a good
Whoa,
fit?
man. I mean, who couldn't use a defensive tackle as good as Dexter Lawrence, man? Like
Oh,
you're saying, what would they need? Like who couldn't use that?
I think
I mean,
John Harbaugh need to do some family business. Bring him back to the Ravens.
Yeah, well, you saying the Ravens? I was gonna say this. I think a great fit for Dexter Lawrence would be the Tennessee Titans. The Tennessee Titans
Mm.
putting in with Jeffrey Simmons, that would be outstanding. Like that would be a dominating combination. There are other teams out there that need defensive tackle help. I mean, you name it. The New Orleans Saints need defensive tackle help. Kansas City Chiefs need defensive tackle help. The Cincinnati Bengals need defensive tackle help. Like there's no shortage of teams that need help at the defensive tackle position. So, like
Can I throw a name out? Can I throw a name out?
Go for it.
The New England Patriots.
They already spent a lot of money on defensive tackle.
I mean, you never have a trouble with riches. You know, I mean, it's never
Yeah.
having rich people problems. What about the Chicago Bears? I'm just thinking of teams he could win on if he's in.
I got one for you.
Okay.
Chicago Bears is a good one. That's a good one. I think I got a better one for you, and it's in that same division. I want to say this team should do it, but I don't know if they have enough money. The Minnesota Vikings. Put in with Brian Flores' defense. I want to say they should do it. I don't know if they have enough.
I mean, people find money under mattress all the time.
Yeah. The Minnesota Vikings would be putting in with Jalen Redmond. That would be outstanding. Outstanding. Outstanding.
That would be a good look. Let's see what happens with Dexter Lawrence in the next several weeks. I don't think he's going anywhere, but you just never know. Like you said, sometimes you got to cut your losses and see if you can
Chicago Bears is a good one, though. I'm sitting there thinking about it. The more I think about it, Chicago Bears is a good one.
I mean, the dead clock is right twice a day, Canty. I pull some out once in a blue moon. But I think Mel would be more happy for the Chicago Bear one. I think that everybody from Bears Nation, Bear Down, would be happy for that.
All right, not for nothing. The Houston Texans would be scary, too.
It would be.
If you have Dexter Lawrence with Danielle Hunter and Will Anderson.
That back end, too.
Yeah,
ain't
that's
no
what I'm saying. But I'm just thinking about the defensive front. Yuck.
Yeah, that'll be scary.
Yuck.
That'll be scary. That's like throwing him in with the Cleveland Browns, throwing him in over there with Myles Garrett.
Oh, that'd be disgusting.
Woo.
Disgusting.
That defense was already valid. Let's see what happens.
Yeah.
Let's talk on one more topic before we jump into 99 problems.
What we got?
We got leadership being shown by example. Lamar Jackson, for the very first time in his career, he has shown up to voluntary workouts this week. I'll get straight to it, Canty. What does this mean for the Ravens season, knowing that their captain, their leader, the head of the snake, is willing to buy in this early into the offseason?
All the pressure is on the head coach, the coaching staff, and the general manager. Because Lamar Jackson showed up. They didn't get a contract extension done, even though the owner said they're prioritizing that this offseason. All the pressure is on the powers that be, the decision makers in Baltimore. Lamar Jackson showed up. It's on them to make it work. And when I say make it work, the team having success, but also making sure Lamar Jackson contractually is tied to the Ravens beyond 2027. Because here's the quiet part that I'm going to say out loud, and a lot of people aren't paying attention to this. Lamar Jackson has a full no-trade clause, and he has a full no-tag clause. So that means that Lamar Jackson can play out 2026, 2027, and walk into free agency 2028 unencumbered. The Ravens can't do a damn thing about it. So this is as much about trying to retain Lamar Jackson as it is about trying to win a Super Bowl. The Baltimore Ravens brass has to recruit their two-time MVP quarterback and give him enough reason to want to stay around and finish his career in Baltimore. Because there's always been the rumors that Lamar Jackson wants to go back home and play in South Florida for the Miami Dolphins. That's always been out there. I mean, the Dolphins did sign Malik Willis this offseason, but having him there is not an impediment to Lamar Jackson running with the Miami Dolphins if he wants to in a few years. So I'm just going to say it. The Baltimore Ravens have to tread very carefully, and they have to be wildly successful with this new regime in order to convince Lamar that this is the place for him long term. It's either that or give Lamar an outside-of-the-box contract, which they didn't want to do the last time they negotiated a contract. So they're either going to have to pay him a ridiculous amount of money, or they're going to have to do a hell of a lot of winning in order to guarantee that Lamar stays there long term.
Well, I want you to throw your jersey on real quick, Canty. I
All
want
right,
you
what
to
we
be
got?
that player that you've been for over 11 seasons. Um, is this move for Lamar a sign to show I'm here, I'm invested, pay me? Or is this more to say I believe in the new coaching staff, the new regime, and I want them to know I've bought in so everybody else behind me follows? Which one is this? Negotiation or I believe in you?
Can I present an alternative to those two?
Okay.
I'm here. Don't blame me if shit don't go right.
That's straightforward. That's very straightforward.
I'm here. Don't blame me if shit don't go right. I'm giving y'all every opportunity to figure it out. The offensive coordinator, days after he took the job, called me out, challenging my commitment to winning, wanting to get this thing off on the right start. Okay, cool. Head coach did as much in the days and weeks to follow. Cool. I'm here.
Mm-hmm.
We want to work toward building a champion. I'm here. So it's on you guys to get it done. And if y'all don't deliver that, then all of a sudden I could potentially be interested in looking elsewhere. And the only way you can get me off of that mark is by paying me a crazy amount of money. Now, here's the thing. Lamar Jackson, if he doesn't sign an extension before the start of the season, that will be looming over the franchise the entire year. So there is that. But it behooves Lamar not to sign a deal this offseason. The reason why is you got Caleb Williams' contract coming up after this season. You got Jaden Daniels. You got Bo Nix. You got Drake May. You want to let those dudes sign contracts before you sign a contract. Because they're whatever the number is, $60 million right now, those dudes are going to far exceed that, especially with the salary cap going up. So if you're Lamar, it does not make sense to do a deal this offseason. If you're the Baltimore Ravens, you absolutely want to do a deal to guarantee that your MVP is not going to be a lame duck in 2027. Because here's the deal. If Lamar Jackson hasn't signed an extension by the time we get to the 2027 offseason, if you're the Baltimore Ravens and you've made no progress on a new deal, do you preemptively decide to trade Lamar? Is that something that you even consider? NBA style. You know, if an NBA star doesn't sign an extension before the last year,
you got to get something for him.
You got to get something for him. You got to trade him. The Baltimore Ravens can't let Lamar walk. He's 3-time first-team All-Pro. You can't let him walk. Lamar Jackson's still in his 20s. You can't let him walk.
Nope.
So if you don't, that's the pressure of the offseason and, quite frankly, 2026. If you don't get a deal done, going into 2027, you got to contend with Lamar having an $84 million cap hit and potentially walking after that upcoming season. It's a tricky spot for the Baltimore Ravens.
Well, there's some decisions that got to be made and be more. We know it got to happen. I mean, they've had a hell of an offseason thus far. I thought they had Max Crosby. That didn't happen. But they definitely picked up a good weapon. And Hendrickson.
Yeah, I like that.
So that was a good pickup. Move. Got new coaching regime, but seeing Lamar there for the first time ever, I think this is a statement. We'll see how that plays out. And we'll, again, like you said, when we get down to week 17, and if it doesn't look what it needs to look like around week 18, we can say it ain't had shit to do with Lamar.
That's it.
That's what you want to be able to say.
Don't blame me.
Listen, we're at our favorite part of the show that everybody talks about, 99 problems, and we know a take isn't one. Canty, we know what's coming up, and we're looming on one of the biggest moments in a lot of people's lives, and that is draft day. But there are some moves that needs to be made on teams, players, and just GMs kind of being mad scientists between now and then post the draft. I want to ask you a straightforward question. What are the top 5 moves that need to be made before the draft?
Yeah, buddy, let's go. Okay, so my top 5 moves that need to be made before the draft, I'm going to go in descending order. So I'm going to start with number 5. It's Jalen Carter's contract extension with the Philadelphia Eagles. The former All-Pro defensive tackle. This guy is going into his 4th season. He is an absolute game wrecker. Remember, the Eagles did go ahead and sign Jordan Davis, fellow defensive tackle, to a $26 million a year extension. There's no way that they don't believe that Jalen Carter is worth more than that. The only question with Jalen Carter is the 6 inches between his ears. Remember, he got suspended before the first snap of the first game of the season where he spit in Dak Prescott's face. But make no mistake about it, the headaches that Jalen Carter brings to the table from a behavior standpoint, they're worth it when you see how he can impact the game. This is a guy that has the talent to be the best defensive player in all of football. And yes, I know what I'm saying, living in a world where Myles Garrett exists. Jalen Carter is just that talented. So Philadelphia Eagles got to get that done. Next on the list, number 4, George Pickens' contract extension. This dude caught 22 passes of 20 yards or more. That's top 5 in that category. He is a big play waiting to happen. If we keep it in a buck, he was Dallas's number 1 receiver last year, not CeeDee Lamb. CeeDee Lamb is getting paid $34 million a year. Best believe George Pickens is going to want more than that. I don't know that the Dallas Cowboys are willing to do that. I think they want to play out the string on the franchise tag. I don't know if George Pickens' agent, David Mulligetta, is going to be cool doing that. So Dallas Cowboys, if you don't want the drama like you had last year with Micah, go ahead and get the deal done before the draft. Number 3, Chicago Bears in the city of Chicago doing a deal to keep the Bears' new stadium in city limits. Now, the Bears have been doing all of this posturing. Oh, we're going to move it to the burbs in Arlington Heights. Oh, Governor, you want to get involved? You don't want to let us do that? Cool. We'll move the team to Indiana. Nobody wants to go to Hammond, Indiana to watch the quote-unquote Chicago Bears. That's bullshit. So listen, Mayor of Chicago, Chicago Bears brass, President Kevin Warren, get the deal done, man. My wife is from the South Side. Chicago Bears belong in the city of Chicago. Get a deal done. I don't care where you do it at. If you want to do it at the old hospital site in Bronzeville, that's cool. If you got an alternative somewhere on the west side, that's cool. Find a way to get it done, okay? Find the space to get it done, find the money to get it done, but just get it done because the Chicago Bears don't need to be anywhere else but the city of Chicago. Next, number 2, T. Higgins needs to be traded. And this ain't about another team needing a number 1 receiver as much as it is about the Cincinnati Bengals needing to address the Achilles heel of the team in the Joe Burrow era, which is the defense. The defense is atrocious. They switched coordinators. They went from Lou Anarumo to Al Golden. It wasn't much better, and I know both coaches, they both know what the hell they're doing. They just ain't got the talent to do it. And so if you're the Cincinnati Bengals, it has to be more than what you did in free agency. That was a good start. You brought in Boye Mafe to play defensive end from the reigning defending Super Bowl champ Seattle Seahawks. You went out and you made some other additions too. You brought in Brian Cook, safety from the Kansas City Chiefs, but you need to do more. You brought in Jonathan Allen. That's a good place to go. You need to do more. You got Kyle Duggar, great safety. You need to do more. So the Cincinnati Bengals need to continue to address their defense. And we see now with the wide receiver market, with Jalen Waddle being traded for a first-round pick, we know that that's the bar to clear. To me, trade T. Higgins. You could save money on your cap. They would save $5 million if they traded T before the draft started. Save money on your cap, get another premium draft pick, first-round pick, and add to your defense. That's what you should do if you're the Cincinnati Bengals. Add to your defense, add to your offensive line. Those are things that'll help Joe Burrow more than having 2 number 1 wide receivers.
Okay.
All right. But there can only be one number 1. We've talked about it already. It's Lamar Jackson getting the extension done. If the Baltimore Ravens can't get this done, it is going to be a problem going into the 2027 offseason, and I don't know how they would fix it. If they don't get an extension done with Lamar before the start of the season, then I would venture to say that we're talking about the last season for Lamar Jackson in Baltimore.
Oh man, this list is low key fire, Canty. You got number 5, Jalen Carter extension. Number 4, George Pickens extension. Chicago keeping the Bears in Chi-Town.
An extension for the Bears in Chicago.
No, you just trying to get some house brownie points. That's what that one was.
Maybe,
some house brownie points.
Maybe. I mean, listen, we got the Obama Library on the South Side. We can put the Bears' new stadium there too.
Do that. Now, we know number 2 was trading T. Higgins, and we know number 1 was Lamar. I was very shocked at that trade in T. Higgins, but we know how you feel about those Bengals. Anybody that knows Canty knows he gets hate on ESPN, he gets hate on here. Anytime he mentions Joe Burrow or the Bengals, I don't know where they come from, but they jump out the sky.
Listen, you done had Joe Burrow and these two wide receivers, and you've been outside looking at the playoffs 3 straight years, dog. 3 straight years. Come on, man. Come on, man. You got to do something different.
Yeah,
got to do something different.
They thought playing all preseason was the difference, though. That's what they thought. That's what they thought.
Yeah, Joe Burrow got hurt game 2.
Yeah. You know what that was? That was because he played all preseason. That's what they're gonna say. He need to not play until the last
Okay,
game.
all right.
Listen, we get to the part where everybody can participate because everybody throughout the week they get wins and losses. We have our triumphs, but we also have our pitfalls. Canty, this week, what is your loss for the week?
Ooh, my loss for the week. Oh man. Gee, I mean, I guess I have to go with Dan Hurley and UConn as the loss for the week.
I like that.
I mean, listen, man, like Dan Hurley has never lost in the round of 16 or later in the NCAA tournament. UConn has been undefeated in the title game, perfect 6-0 before they lost on Monday night to Michigan. And even though the game got a little tight at the end, it didn't necessarily feel like Michigan was ever in jeopardy of losing that game. So I'm going to say Dan Hurley with the loss for the week, even though I think his team played about as well as they could against a team that just had more talent and more depth.
Listen.
Can I do co-losses of the weeks?
Yeah. You got it. This our show. You can do whatever you want, Canty.
So maybe I'm just picking on the runners up, but Don Staley in South Carolina getting smoked by UCLA. How you beat the undefeated UConn Huskies and Gino Auriemma and all of that pomp and circumstance, and then you go out there and you ain't even pinched the bitch when you played UCLA. You ain't even breathe on them hard. Like you just rolled over. Like it felt like UConn took a pound of flesh from South Carolina, and South Carolina had no more gas in the championship game. So for Don Staley to, overcome that hurdle and hand UConn their first defeat in the Final Four on the season, and then lose to UCLA, it feels anticlimactic. Happy for UCLA, happy for their coach Corey Close and all of the things, but that's a tough one. I would say the runners-up in the national championship game for both the men and the women, those are my losses for the week.
Oh man, I thought you was gonna say the way Gino was acting towards Don, and Don's word, "I'll fuck Gino up."
Oh yeah, that could have been a loss and then some for Gino.
The straight Philly came out right then and there.
Yeah.
So I'll fuck Gino up. My loss for the week, it actually is the Chicago Sky. You didn't get enough. I know you got a first round pick in the 27 and 28 draft, and I know these women in the college basketball ranks, they are magnificent and they're going to take the W to higher heights, but you didn't get enough. In 2024, as soon as Angel Reese got to the team, her jersey, number 5 jersey, sold out. They actually grew revenue by 500% increase when Angel Reese got there. Canty, 500% for the Chicago Sky.
That's crazy.
500%. You let 500% walk out the door. Now, we talked about some of the vanity metrics, the followers losing about 10K and then Atlanta getting 18. But I think the biggest thing is those ticket sales. Ticket sales plummeted for the Chicago Skies because a lot of those season ticket holders, they came there to see Angel. They ain't come there to see nobody else. They came to see Angel. That's probably what her grandma called Angel. They probably came there to see Angel. But that's a big loss. You didn't get enough. You're not going to make the money you need to make. You're not going to replace those jersey sales. I think right now that wasn't the best move for Chicago Sky as the Chicago Skies as a franchise, and maybe for those Chicago Skies fans, you're going to be sitting in a little misery for a little bit, just a little bit.
Okay,
just a little bit.
All right.
But what you got for wins this week, Canty?
Oh man, UNC basketball, men's hoops. They hired Michael Malone, NBA champion, former head coach of the Denver Nuggets, former teammate here at ESPN. I think it's the right move. We talked to Seth Greenberg, Coach Seth Greenberg, on our show earlier on Sportsmanlike, shameless plug, 6 to 10 a.m. on ESPN radio. And Coach Greenberg said Carolina swung and missed on a lot of high-profile coaches in college basketball, and they landed on the right guy with Michael Malone. You're not going to find a better coach from an X's and O's standpoint. And with the globalization of the game and recruiting in the college ranks, when you have a head coach in Michael Malone that can sit down with recruits and put them on the phone with Nikola Jokic or put them on the phone with Jamal Murray, I think that's a huge feather in the cap for the school. And then, of course, having the opportunity to flaunt a championship ring, I think that matters. He's got relevance. He's won at the highest level this decade. So there's a little bit of um, selling. There's a little bit of belief because he's got skins on the wall. So there's that. There's proof of concept. That's something that goes a long way with recruits. I think the challenge with Michael Malone will be being able to manage his temperament and engaging the young guys and making sure he's got a staff with experienced coaches at the college ranks. Like, go out there and get somebody that was in the UNC family. Get Jerry Stackhouse to come in and sit on your bench as an assistant head coach. Get him from the Golden State Warriors. That makes a ton of sense. Go out there and find former Carolina basketball players that are assistant coaches in the college ranks and the pro ranks and hire them to be on your staff so that when you're, chewing out these young players, you got other coaches there that can be there to love them up a little bit. So I love the hire for UNC, hire Michael Malone. I think it makes a ton of sense. That's my win for the week.
Oh man, and it's crazy. My win is kind of echoing off your losses, but I consider it a win. I think the Final Four of the NCAA tournament was a big win for everybody.
Nice.
I think, like you said, the South Carolina Gamecocks beating the undefeated UConn team was a big win. I do think they played their final game against UConn by accident. I think that's what happened. They played their final game against UConn by accident. But we also want to talk about UCLA and their first trip to the championship game and killing in the way they killed. They played a perfect game from start to finish. And then let's talk about Michigan back on top. I wish the Fab Five was in that. I wish they were there. I wish they was there. What's the thing? What's this? The Fab Five? I wish they were there because they deserve to cherish in that memory as much as anybody else and how they took down the banners. They act like they didn't do what they needed to do. They started freshmen, the first NCAA team to ever do that. So I love seeing that. But most of all, the viewership doubled versus last year, which is tremendous. Being able to get over 15 million views in the Final Four, and then going into the championship game. So
don't tell President Trump that because he's got the Save College Sports executive order. Don't tell President Trump that the ratings are good.
Well, Canty, if he ain't gonna re-up me and your NIL that we didn't get, because I know Union made some money off me.
Yeah,
I know Virginia made some money off you.
I ain't get no NIL.
If we get some NIL money, then I'll be down for this one thing with them. But everything else, I can't talk about President Orange. I can't do nothing right now. The gas price is too high. I can't be his friend right now. Not right. Kid T, let them know where they can find you at.
Man, you can find me at Chris Canty 99 on all social media platforms. You can also find me on Unsportsmanlike 6 to 10 a.m. on ESPN Radio, ESPN2, ESPNU. And here's the other place you can find me, right here on the In My Defense podcast and all of our social media channels. Q, what about you?
You can find me at QE_Beeman1 on all social media platforms. As we said last week, we thank you. I was very hyped because I was like, okay, after this episode, we're going to hit 5. But we're at 5 now. We thank you for growing and showing up for us. We're still in season 1. Once the NBA season, I know we'll take a little break and get revved up for season 2. But seeing you guys and how you guys have been watching, how you've been taking to it, and how you've been migrating from Canty's platforms to here and learning more about him and seeing him in a different way. We thank you. We appreciate you. And as we always say, there is never nothing personal, but in our defense.